Voyager by cKc. Started off light. Warm up. Watch out for the nails. Don't expect to get good penetration here, but I'll just have a look at the edge. So the problem with slippage on the handle is when you move into the cut, if your hand moves on the grip, you're losing energy as your hand slides along because you're not able to put the force into the grip the way you want to do it. Now, for a lot of people, that's not a consideration because they use a very loose grip and they use the weight of the knife, the speed of the knife, and a lot of it is just in that, and they don't do any heavy wrist or hand action. I do a relatively heavy follow-through even after impact, so I like a very secure grip. So I'll have to increase the checkering on this a little. So you can see we're about an inch off a full cut. I think I could get that maybe down to 3/4 on a perfect hit. But a half is probably going to be the upper limit unless something very advantageous happens to the breaking of the wood. So that's what I was talking about. You can see if you cut in and around knot patterns, sometimes you can get splitting around the knots, and that will allow the knife to over penetrate much more than normally would. So you can see I'm over halfway now. Unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult for me to complete this cut because I'm going to run into this knot down here. So what I'll do is come over here further than I normally would. There's a big crack here. I should get this to chip release relatively deep. Well, the knot got in the way more than I would have wanted. So I was hoping that would come out further, but again it was pinned in by the knot and I couldn't get it to crack. See how much crack around knots. So if this didn't have to be here, I could have took advantage of these two knots, I think, to make a 3-hit cut. So I think 5 is relatively easy. It doesn't take a lot of effort to get a 5-hit cut. 3-hit cut I think might be possible if I increase the traction on the handle, and that would maximize the force I would bring into the blade. But I think along with doing that, I'd have to get a near perfect piece of wood with just the right grain placement in order for it to split. Like you can see, this is what you want. You want the grains to run relatively straight. They will naturally open up. You don't want them doing any twisting or turning because that will prevent them from coming apart. somewhere about halfway, half an inch. So it's not quite 5. So overall, I'm very pleased with how this blade came out. The handle is nice and comfortable, fits the hand relatively well. Lots of power, lots of reach, works exceptionally well in a close-up grip. I can use an overhand grip on it, no problem. I'm going to take these shoulders down a bit because there's a bit of a high point right there. I'll get rid of that. I was thinking initially about slimming this blade down a little bit, but I think what I'm going to do is end up using this more for the softer woods that we have around here, the pine and the alder and the fresh cut greenwood, and leave the other blade, Dan's blade, as more for the harder wood, the denser wood, so the slimmer profile will get a bit more penetration, and this will give a bit more fluidity in the softer woods. But again, I'm going to want to work on this to put a deeper checkering up here, get me a bit more traction, because I'm not following the cut lines as tight as I would want, and that's again because the handle is moving a little bit on the swing. I use a relatively heavy swing with a lot of forward drive, so I need a lot of traction to take full advantage of that. So I'm going to work on this a bit more. I put a rough checkering pattern on this, but it's not exceptionally deep, and so I'll work on that and see how it comes out.